Hello, everyone. My name is Angelo, and I am a passport brother who brought his wife from Vietnam to come and live with me in the United States. She has a green card, and now we are planning the second phase of our life. And today I want to talk to you a little bit about how YouTube has really essentially changed my life for the better. Even though I have less than 1,000 subscribers, I believe it's right now it's about 520. But things are dramatically different than they were just a few years ago. And I have to point the finger at YouTube as a good reason why these things have happened. One of the things that's really um, this sticks with me a lot in my YouTube journey is that I was really one of the very first adopters of YouTube way back in the day. I remember when YouTube wasn't owned by Google and the announcement was made that Google was going to purchase YouTube. As a matter of fact, I had even uploaded a few videos back then. Um, and around that time, I was deeply into screenwriting, independent filmmaking, and I had aspirations on becoming a Hollywood filmmaker, Hollywood movie maker, like a big director, like Steven Spielberg, Michael Mann, or um, Michael Bay, somebody like that. And I remember as YouTube has had progressed, I went ahead and uploaded some of the trailers to my independent films to YouTube. And then a funny thing happened. There was this thing called web series that came out. And a lot of the folks that I had been working with to make these independent films, they came and approached me. And they came to me because at the time, in the circle of colleagues, um, independent film colleagues, I had been doing the most. I had made the most independent short films. I had done the most production. I had written the most scripts, and so I had also hired most people, given a lot of people their first starts in um, composing, directing, editing, lighting. There's all of that. A lot of the people that I worked with got their first start through me because it was my first start. So I just went ahead and hired people who were like me. Um, so getting back to the whole YouTube thing, a friend of mine came to me and he said, "Hey, there's a lot of people putting their movies on YouTube, and they're calling them web series, and they're getting a lot of exposure, and possibly this is a way to get your films out there." And I looked at it, and I remember being very high minded and thinking, "There's no way I want to be a YouTube filmmaker." I said, "I want to work for Hollywood. I want to be up there with Sony Pictures and Columbia and all of these other big Universal, all these other big production studios." So there was no way I was going to put my films on YouTube for any old body to just watch it, and so I didn't. I did use YouTube for my trailers and for some media kits and things like that. And as a matter of fact, I was one of the first people to join the YouTube partnership program way back in the day. And I remember depositing my first check for $100 because a lot of people had jumped in to screen my trailer for one of the films that I had made called the resurrection of Sirius Rogers. Um, and so it's like, cool. Hey, this is a good way to make some extra money. But I still didn't want to put my movies on there. Lo and behold, jump ahead 5, 10 years later, and it was the biggest mistake I ever made, not doing that. And then I tried to correct it at a certain time by uploading some of my movies that did not get distribution, that weren't picked up. There were only short films, so there was no real outlet for it. But the internet was the perfect outlet for it. And so I uploaded a lot of those things actually onto this very channel. Um, Many of those movies have been um, deleted. I've removed them since then, except for one, and that's the one that I shot in 2007. It's still available on this channel today, and it's called the Broken Hearts Club. Um, and it's actually probably my best film in that it's gotten the most distribution on television and also overseas in Europe, the Netherlands, and some other places. And now it's on a lot of those streaming channels as well. But anyway, so my background in YouTube goes way, 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 way back. But I never took advantage of some of the changes that YouTube implemented. Um, but now I think is the right time for me to actually take advantage of some of those changes. And that's why this new channel where I talk about the K1 visa, fiance visa, and helping my Vietnamese wife immigrate to the United States and helping her get a green card and doing the adjustment of status and all of those things that have helped a lot of you out there who are going through similar situations with your spouses or your fiancés, your foreign-born fiancés. Um, this channel has allowed me to expand and explore and share a lot of the experiences that I have. And here's the thing: back when I was a young independent filmmaker, or when I decided that, hey, I'm going to leave screenwriting alone and I'm going to try to make my own movie. Back when I first made that decision, which was years ago, back in like 2002, a lot of the individuals in that I came in contact with, they did not want to share information. And so one of the things that I did as I learned, I created a blog. This was back before there was a Blogger or a Blogspot or a WordPress or Medium, and I created a blog written in HTML, and I just everything that I learned, I posted it to that blog, and um, being able to do that, and being able to do that now, helps me share, or I should say, it prepares me to continue to share the experiences that I have with the people out there who it can benefit. And now, as I try to embark on this new YouTube journey, um, I'm excited about being able to use my past experiences and my past failures to kind of twist things around and position me better for success. And of course, like I mentioned, the situation of using my fiance, or I should say, my relationship with my fiance, which so much of that was, I won't say inspired by YouTube, but it was facilitated by YouTube. And let me explain, because when I went to go see my fiance, Nia, back in 2007, 17, it was the very first time I had ever left the continental United States since 1985, when I went out with the United States Marine Corps on maneuvers just off the coast of Panama. So it was the first time as a civilian that I ever left the continental United States. And not knowing what to do or what to expect, I turned to YouTube and videos and things like that to travel vloggers to help familiarize me with what was going on out there, what I could expect. And that's when I first came in contact with Kara and Nate, and the Endless Adventure, and a few other travel vloggers that I still watch to this day. But that's also that very first experience of traveling to Vietnam and spending some time there, and then traveling again and again and again, and then reinforcing that with watching YouTube videos on travel, helped me develop a nice, healthy love for international travel. And now that's something that my wife Nia and I talk about every day. And that, you know, at some point we want to kind of, you know, pick up and get out there and do some traveling and see the world and see new cultures and experience new things. And it all started, of course, from my desire to go meet someone in meet someone in another country, and then making that happen, and then making it happen again and again and again, and then researching it so I could be better prepared. And YouTube was integral in all of those things. And so now it's time to kind of pivot and take that past experience and then the new adventure and the new challenges and share those with you as well. And I tried to do that with some videos I've made in the past, and where I take us through the entire process of filing a K-1 visa petition, all the way to getting an adjustment of status. And just when you think you're out of that situation, you know, they pull you back in, and they pulled me back in. And there's still two things lingering on this whole situation with me and Nia, trying to, you know, solidify her place here in the United States. And one is the California's driver's license. And I mentioned before, we filed for the AB60, which is a version of the California driver's license in which you do not have to prove permanent residency. You do not have to prove that you're here, quote, legally. And I jumped on that, even though we were in the process of getting her here. And, you know, she came on a legal K-1 fiance visa. And then we got married, and then we started the process for the adjustment of status. Even though everything was above board, this was a way to try to get her license, a California driver's license, quickly, or so I thought. It actually turned out to be the worst decision ever, because she took the test, the written test, in January of this year. And we went to the California DMV office. We provided them with all of the paperwork. And by the time we got there, she had already gotten a green card. So we were trying to switch, and you're unable to switch in mid application. So we have to see the AB60 through to the end before we get to try to upgrade it to just a traditional driver's license. But it has taken up until now to get anywhere with the California DMV and this AB60. So my advice to anyone out there who's considering the AB60, trust me, don't do it. Working with the USCIS for your adjustment of status is far quicker and much more simpler, and you can control the outcome better. Do not use the AB60. It is a waste of time, and it has totally wasted hard time because without the California learner's permit, she can't even learn to drive. We can't hire, any of the services out there to teach her how to drive because they won't accept her, won't allow her behind the wheel unless she's got that learner's permit. Excuse me. Um, so the AB60 is a no-go. We finally heard from them, and then they told us to expect something in the mail. We've been watching the mail for the last 2 weeks. That hasn't come. It'll probably take another 30 days. But the the future, as we look towards the future, the thing that will work out for us is that the learner's permit, expires in January of 2025. And once that learner's permit expires, then we can go and just apply for a regular California's driver's license. So literally, it's right now. There's only a few more months left in the year, but right now it's taking 8 months, and it will probably be 1 year wasted with this whole AB60 California AB60 driver's license. So if you're out there, you're considering any type of non permanent resident driver's license, don't do it. Work with the USCIS, the United States Citizenship and Immigration Service. Do your paperwork legally, and you will be. It will happen so much faster. The next thing that we want to get done fairly quickly is this issue with the Social Security number. Now, so let me give you a little background. When you file for the adjustment of status, which is the I-485 form, and then you've got a bunch of other forms that you have to submit with it. One is a work authorization that allows her to work and get paid legally while the adjustment of status application is being processed. So what that form does, I believe it's the I-765, what that does is it provides her with a Social Security number. But when that Social Security card comes in the mail, it specifically says this is for work authorization DHS only. My thinking was, shit, it's a Social Security number, so now that means anything out there, any services that require a Social Security number, this thing is now valid for it. But that's not true, and no one ever told us this, and now I see why, in some cases, there's a benefit to hiring a lawyer when you do the K-1 visa. I'm not saying that you have to go and pay those fees, but if you're willing to find out, and if you're watching this video, now you know that when you get your Social Security number with that little insignia written on it, it's part of the work authorization or the employment authorization document, the EAD. It's only good for employment. That's all it is. And I believe it's just really tied to Social Security. So if you try to get any type of insurance, if you try to get life insurance, medical insurance, credit, if you want to work on establishing a credit file, it's not good for any of that stuff. And again, nowhere on the USCIS website did I ever read this. I'm going to go back and check just to confirm, but it doesn't say so there. And I don't remember seeing it anywhere on the Social Security Administration website as well. I actually put two and two together because we kept running into roadblocks trying to set up an account on Credit Karma, trying to set up insurance, get on my health insurance, get her on medical insurance, get her on life insurance. We're trying to do all of this stuff with this Social Security number. We kept running into roadblocks, but nobody would tell us why, and that's because that Social Security number is not valid for those services. And on the other end, if you are the person providing those services, you get a warning. And when once they get that warning, they have to treat you almost as if you are, you know, somebody trying to steal another person's identity. So they shut everything down. They don't give you any further information, and they move on. And that's what we were running into. Then one day, I'm really frustrated. I'm looking at the situation. I can't figure out why. And I look at her card and I see that thing on there. And I say to myself, hey, I think I know what the problem is. I think that this card is only good for work authorization or employment. So I schedule a meeting with the Social Security Administration. Now, she and I go together, and I'm hoping, I got my fingers crossed. I'm praying that um, my deduction is correct. So we get there, and we arrive, and she sits down, and the lady asks us, why are we there? And I slide the card across, and I'm hoping and I'm pleading. I'm like, God, please let this be the way to get this thing done. And I slide it across, and I lean in, and I say, very timidly, yes, ma'am. Yeah, she's got her green card already, and she was given this social security number when she applied for her employment authorization document. But now she's got a green card, so I think we need to change the status. I'm not sure, but I think we need to change the status. And she looked at the card and she said, "Oh, okay, I'll take care of that." And in the back of my head, I'm going like this: "Yes, yes, yes, yes! Finally, finally!" And I was so excited, but I kept my composure, and I just turned to my wife and I said, "It's done." So she knew the lady the was servicing us knew exactly what to do. She took the card. She issued a letter. She said they were going to update the file, and then I just wanted to confirm. I said, so we don't need to get a new card, right? She said, no, you don't need to get a new card. What that card does is ties to information associated with that number. And right now, that information says nothing can happen with this card except employment, and she's going to now change that data. So the data associated with that number is going to change. And thank God, now we can move to the next stage of trying to get this thing done. So I'm really, really, really happy about that. And I wanted to share that here in case anyone else is going through the K-1 visa process. And I wrote that, I did a video with like 55 steps, take you from the K-1 visa petition to adjustment of status. Now this is step number 56. You have to change your Social Security number status once you receive the green card. So I was really, really excited that has now happened, and yeah, we're really, we're moving on to the next thing. What else is going on is I'm hoping that YouTube and this channel will help Nia and myself establish kind of like a little side hustle so that we can have some other income coming in. Excuse me. And of course, I have to reach, the threshold of, I think it's 4,000 watch hours and 1,000 subscribers to get to that point. And I'm more than halfway there. So thank you and you and you and you for subscribing, and please share this video. If there's anything in here that's useful to you or someone you know, please share this video, and if you can, subscribe. And again, so this channel is going to do a slight pivot as I talk about things that have happened in my life that may be beneficial to someone out there going through the same thing, or someone younger who hasn't gotten to that point yet. Particularly, someone in their late 30s, 40s, or 50s, and you're facing a lot of challenges or what have you. I'm lucky, I'm blessed that I have I have gone through a lot, survived a lot, and there are a lot of anecdotal stories that I can share to, uplift and inspire and motivate. Um, as I tell my friends right now, and I tell my children that now is the best time in the world to succeed, and that's because right now there is a threshold of work ethic that has decreased massively in the last, I don't know, 10 or 12 years, and it's really difficult to find people who just are imbued with the ideal of working hard. It seems that so many people want to work as little as possible and get paid as much as possible, even when they don't deserve it or haven't earned it. The old adage about, you know um, earning your keep or working your way up from the bottom doesn't apply to anymore nowadays. Most people just want to start at the top, even though they haven't paid any dues, haven't learned anything, haven't done any of that. So if you're someone who still has that old-fashioned work ethic of working hard, it's never been easier to stand out from the crowd and you know rise, ascend that corporate ladder. And it doesn't matter if you want to be someone who has their own gig, their own business, or their own side hustle, or if you want to be a content creator, whatever, or if you just want to be someone who has a 9 to 5 that they love going to, but you don't want to stay in the same position. You want to ascend that corporate ladder. It still works in both environments. And I've actually written a book about that. I'll share the link down here below. That it's available on Amazon. How it's actually very simple. It's not easy, but it's very simple to stand out from the crowd and have people take a look at you and say, "Yeah, that's the guy that I want. That's the guy that I need for this job." Um, and I've been lucky because um, I learned a strong work ethic from my mother and from my father, and I've used that, and it's just a kind of innate ability and a skill that I have that just manifests itself on its own. And even when I had to start over after my divorce, I had to get a different job, and I had to start in an industry I was unfamiliar with. Um, I was able to use that work ethic to turn things around, and now I'm in charge of $1 million account. And I went from working the graveyard shift to now I'm the head guy, and it's possible and it's doable, I'd like to prove that it's duplicatable, that my results are duplicatable or repeatable, if you just follow certain formats of certain actions, um, and don't be quiet. I mean, I'm typically an introverted person. I like being alone. I like alone time. I like time to think about things. But when I need to be, um, I'm good in a room around other people, and a lot of that comes from different areas of my life that just happen to uh, happen. And I'm a big proponent of the idea that um, you know there's something to learn from everyone, from every situation. You just take what works for you, and the rest of it you throw it in the trash. And I live by those words. And there are people that I know, that I work with, that I have worked with in the past, who we don't match eye to eye about anything from politics down to raising children. But if there's something that they say and it resonates with me, I don't automatically discard it because, of our difference of opinion on other things. What's valid is valid. And what's truth is truth. It doesn't matter where it's coming from or what the source is. Um, so, this YouTube channel and speaking to you guys so often, and I'm trying to make it regular. I apologize that it has been Wow, almost 2 weeks since my last video. Speaking to you guys, and the act of planning to speak has opened up a new world for me, and I hope through that it will open up a new world for some of you guys out there as well. Because I kind of teetered a little bit on that red pill thing, and then that got messy because a lot of the folks in that arena are just batshit crazy, and I'm not down with that. And I believe that women should be respected and cared for, and um, you a person has to focus on their job as a man before they start pointing fingers at anybody else. And so that part of my transformation, again, what worked or what resonated with me, I've taken that and everything else in the trash. And so now I'm not so much talking about that. I'm really a big proponent of men, especially young men, exploring their options, and particularly if you're in your late 20s and 30s, and if you want to become a passport bro and travel and learn about other cultures and respect other cultures, not be like these idiots who go to Japan and Thailand and other folks acting like a fool. But if you want to go to other cultures, learn and respect those cultures, and then learn about and respect those women and the men who are their fathers, I'm all for it, because I think the more we learn about the world outside our own little vacuum, the better off we will be. And then hopefully, the more compassionate we can become once we understand that um, people are different and we have to find some similarities amongst the differences. So I'm not doing that red pill thing again, but I do keep an eye on the things that a lot of these young men have to deal with out there in the world. And as a man with a young boy who is becoming a fine young gentleman, and I'm so very thankful and so very happy. Some of the issues that folks out there who are dealing with when they have 17 to 18-year-old boys, I haven't had to deal with those issues. My son is respectful. He is polite. And I won't show a picture of him because he just took some graduation photos. So I want to include those somewhere in this video, maybe like right there or something. So I know what these young men have to go through, and if they should not be ashamed of considering, and parents, you should not be ashamed of helping your child consider going to the Philippines or going to Thailand or going to Malaysia or going to Indonesia or going to Japan or going to um, Vietnam or going to someplace else and meeting someone of a different culture and finding out if you two connect at the very basic level, and just understand that the difference is culture. It's a big it's a big divide, but it's not insurmountable. And that's something that I hope you can take away from this video today. That being with someone from a different culture, there's a lot to overcome, but it's not insurmountable. It's not impossible. You just have to be patient and compassionate and have some empathy for what the other person is feeling, and then expect that in return. Um, so that's where I am with this channel that has helped change my life. And I hope that you can like and subscribe to this video and to this channel. And I'm going to have a whole lot more interesting things to discuss and talk about, that are hopefully are relevant to you, and or relevant to someone that you know that you can share with them. Um, I think that's it. And thank you thank you very much. Peace out. Take good care of yourself, and I will see you on the next one. Peace out.